Hello boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's video. Today's video is a little bit of a different type of video, so I have 15 minutes because I don't want to blab for 2 hours, but I want to keep it short but also as informative as possible. So you guys already know the subject of today's video. First of all, I didn't have any tank background video to play, so I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to include I'm going to play some Pharah and like a little bit of a DPS action, maybe support in there. So, tanking in Overwatch. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I have everything written down, the points that I'd like to talk. First, let's talk about myself, what kind of player I am, and my history with tank. Boys and girls, today, obviously we know what we're talking about. I have played Overwatch since 2017. I'm a flex player. I was going to say taxpayer. I'm a flex player. I've played Overwatch in 2017. I played every role. I enjoy playing every role. I'm good with, I would say, above average on almost all heroes. I play almost every heroes. I have my weaknesses on some heroes. The more I played Overwatch, I'm trying to summarize, so I don't want to talk for years. So the more I played Overwatch, the more I realized that the whole concept. I liked the tank. I liked tanking. I liked the adrenaline that it makes me feel. It's so special. So tanking has always been my best role and my favorite role to play. I've played it since 2017. So guys, what I'm trying to get to is I've played variety of metas. I'm talking about double shield or Sahag meta, almost every meta possible that you can imagine of. I have played and participated in, whether I was the main tank or the off tank. Back in the day, I was more the main tank player, but I got better and better and better and better when Overwatch 2 got released because I was forced to play those off tanks and get better at them. Back in the day, I used to be more of a main tank, Rhine, Sig, Orisa. I wasn't really an off-tank player. So now let's move on to the concept of tanking. The concept of tanking in Overwatch is what makes Overwatch special, because no other game at least from my knowledge, no other game has this role that does what tanking in Overwatch does. Yes, support, and we've seen many heroes and in many games. We've seen damages, like DPS players. We've seen all of these in a lot of games, like Call of Duty and stuff like that. Tanking in Overwatch is what makes the game unique and what it has to offer, and what like your job as a tank and just the whole tank concept actually is what drew me to Overwatch. The beauty of tanking, the things that you can do to your team, the things that you can help your team, the bad things that you can prevent your team, the space that you can make, the enabling you can make for your DPS, the peeling that you can do to your supports. There are so many things you can do as a tank. It just influences the game, whether it's in a positive way if you're a good tank, and in heavily negatively way if you're a bad tank. It's just the things that you do on a tank you just cannot do on any other role in the game. Honestly, maybe in any other game, really. So I'm just trying to touch on multiple points in 50 minutes. So moving on to the next one. Tanking, so of course the outplay potential also that you have on a tank, the power that you have in your hand to control the game. Let's say if you're a diva, the ults that you can eat. If you're Sigma, the ults, the hit scan ults, the visor, the high noon that you can block, the grabs that you can block, you can eat. If you're a Zarya, the nasty grabs that you can eat on high ground in the ceiling, the unexpected grabs that you can get, the bubbles that you can save teammates. So many things you can do on tank. That's actually crazy. I can go on and go on and go on, but I just want you guys I just want you guys to get the idea without me talking too much, because I don't want this video to be long. So moving on to the severity of playing tank. That's also, now we talked about the positive, now the negative thing also about the tank, the skill that it has to be a good tank player. The tanking overall, the whole concept of it, it's already punishing enough to play tank, because one mistake on tank, it could actually lose you the game. Where if you make a mistake on support, yeah, sure, it's really bad to lose a healer, but there's no way in hell that you can play Overwatch, you can play a game of Overwatch, and you can win a game when your tank is horrible. Yes, you can play a game and you might have a bad support. You can play around that. If you have a bad DPS, you can compensate for that with something else. But if your tank is not making space, if your tank is feeding his brains off, if your tank is not contesting high ground, there's like so many things if your tank is not doing, you lose the game automatically. Like if your tank, for example, is just straight up feeding, if your tank is made one brutal mistake, I have so many examples on my channels. Like for example, how many games I've lost because I made a mistake. For example, when there's a soldier in front of me, I literally tunnel vision for a second to pressure an aggressive angle, and then he saw me going in, and then he he pushed my backline, visored, and wiped out my entire team. And most of the times in higher elos, you make a mistake like that, you cannot come back from. So I guess you kind of use this experience to learn, but that's my point. Like the role already is punishing enough to play. So, and that's also the importance of the role. If you have a good tank, you will never struggle. It makes your job easier as a DPS and as a support. If you have a good tank, you don't have to, for example, if you're on, you don't have to nade yourself all the time because Matrix is there, Shield is there. If you have a good tank, you don't have to worry about Soldier visoring you or Reaper flanking you, like the Diva comes in and helps you. So many things. Tanks makes our job easier, whether it's on DPS or support. It's just like, that's the beauty of the role. Imagine, since like how many times you played Ana, for example, and then there's a Reaper in the backline, you're like, oh my god, I missed my sleep, I'm dead, and then the Diva comes in to save the day, like Batman. I don't know, like, right, like, am I guys hallucinating? Am I guys tripping, or are you guys making the point? I mean, you guys are watching or hearing or seeing from my passion to the role. I love tanking in Overwatch. My best role, my favorite role, peaking at GM2, so I'm not just talking out of my because YouTube doesn't like swearing, so you guys know what I'm talking about. So we touched on that. Let's move on to the next one. So let's go back to Overwatch 1. If you guys are new to the game and you haven't played since Overwatch 1 used to have 6v6 players. We used to have an additional tank. Back in the day, heroes were different, the tanks were different. Most of the abilities were a little bit nerfed because there was 2 tanks, and there used to be the concept of a main tank and an off tank, and the whole role of that is to complement each other. There was such a lot of combination you can do. Ryan Zarya, the classic Ryan Zarya, season 10. If you guys played that meta, Ryan Zarya, Hanzo, Widow, Mercy, Zenyatta, one of my favorite seasons of my career. And Sigma, Diva, double shield meta, the Sigma Orisa, the whole concept of tank complement each other. Orisa Hog, Diva Winston, like so many things, they complement each other. Ryan's weaknesses, like if you have if you, for example, if you're playing Ryan Zarya, your Ryan, for example, is always weak to nades, for example, and the Zarya complements that. The Zarya takes off that weakness, bubbles him, takes off these effects. Yes, we never had Suzus back in the day, but you're getting the point. Tanks used to help each other, so a lot of the weaknesses that we suffer right now, tanks used to kind of help each other out. So not a lot of the issues that we heavily suffer from today, we used to suffer from back in the day, because some tanks shave off that effect from the other, it makes tanking in Overwatch back in the day used to be way more fun. And I guess less severe, because, for example, if one of the tanks made a mistake, the other one will, kind of clutch it up or like erases that mistake. But you guys get the point. Main tank and off tank, we talked about that. Main tank being so the whole concept of main tank to the people who never played Overwatch 1. Main tank is someone like Orisa. Orisa used to be a different hero. She used to have a shield, a tank that had a shield, pretty much a tank that absorbs a lot of damage. Which is I never liked that concept, because I've always looked at tanking in Overwatch as the character that takes the initiative, makes the space, creates the space, peels for the team. But let's just stick to the very basic concept. Main tank used to be the one that, back in Overwatch 1, the one just stays in the front line, absorbs damage, pushes in, and the off tank used to be the one that, like Diva, Zarya, the one that does the damage, contests the high ground, has more utility than the main tank, I would say. So that was the whole concept back in the day. So Overwatch 2 single tank, advantages and disadvantages. I feel like I liked when they, like, I'm not the biggest hater about 5v5. I feel like I really hated when I'm playing Reinhardt and I had my other tank, if he's so bad that he can't do anything. If I'm playing Ryan, contesting everything, doing everything in the main fight, and then I have to worry about a hog flanking my backline, dominating my backline, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. So having one tank to worry about is good, because tanks are relatively way stronger in Overwatch than Overwatch 1, so that kind of complements each other. That kind of complements with the whole fact that the second tank got removed, so I like that. But I'm trying to get to the point that I would like to get to. So we're gonna Overwatch 2 tanking. Overwatch 2 tanking is way more difficult. Sorry. I don't know why I just didn't mute my mic when I coughed, but yeah. Overwatch 2 tanking is way more difficult. New maps, new heroes, way too much healing now than ever before, because one tank is off the board and there was one less tank to heal, so one less tank to focus, so all the healing goes into one tank or one support. Abilities now are way stronger. We have Suzu. Oh, don't get me started on this goddamn character. So overall, Life Weaver. Oh! So overall, supports are way too strong. I'm not gonna say overpowered, but they got tuned down. So I like the supports power level right now. They're definitely strong, but I like them the way they are because they're fun. That's the whole point of playing support. So because today's subject is not supports, it's tanking, so let's just stick to that. So my whole point is supports are strong. The new heroes that gets introduced into the game are literally tank busting heroes. The Orisa, the reworked Orisa, the reworked Bastion, Zenyatta with the kick buff, like his melee. Like I can talk on and on and on about the new heroes, like Maga. What else? Like, you guys getting the point. The Suzus, it's so frustrating for a tank to deal with. So many things. The tanking in Overwatch 2 is way more difficult because supports can now, with the new the Overwatch 2 supports are kind of an extra DPS. More damage lands on you. The new passive DPS. Now that supports have one less tank to worry about, they do their own thing, flanking, enabling landing their abilities on the DPS. So many things that just your job as a tank got harder. So we talked about the new heroes being really great against tanks. The counterplay. Okay, now let's get to the counterplay. The counterplay as a concept in Overwatch, I like the counterplay concept. I have to be honest. Because if there's no counterplay in Overwatch, it's a very touchy subject. If there's no... I know it's a very long opening, 13 minutes to an opening, but I guess this video, I tried to keep it short, but let's just hope that it won't be at least above 20 minutes. Counterplay is important in Overwatch. We all know why. You do not want a Pharah in the sky wreaking havoc on your team. There's nothing you can do about it. You do not want a Symmetra that lasering, beaming everything on the ground. Counter swapping is important in Overwatch, but the severity that it got to tanks, it's absolutely unplayable. I personally, and the fact that you don't lose, you don't lose completely your ult charge when you swap, kind of encourages you to swap. And the fact that you're encouraging people to counter swap. So now we're going to the negative effect of counter swapping. It's actually, because I'm sorry, I'm not moaning, I'm not complaining. I'm just talking about the subject of counter swapping is a very, very, very hot topic right now. So because I streamed yesterday and it's supposed to be my tanking stream. Yes, I ranked up, but I never tilt. I'm a very I'm a very non-toxic, very chill guy, but I tilt on tank because I just have to play into my spawn. The enemy swaps, I have to go back to swap. And the bigger issue is, I can get the entire enemy team to counter swap me, but my team never swaps. Like, I had literally a game yesterday. I just don't want to include so many clips because I've seen flats. You guys also seen a lot of streamers, so let's just talk about it and leave it at that. Because, so I was playing yesterday a game on one of the new maps, one of the new control maps. I really forgot the name, like Maga's map. I started on Diva, and then it happened to be Zarya, and then I went back to swap to Winston. He came back on Maga, and then his team came back with Bastion, Reapers, and Yara, Maga, and I just ended up, there's nothing I can do until a team cup, and my team stayed. They never swapped. So, like, there's absolutely nothing you can do on your tanks, like from the tank's perspective, if your entire team doesn't help you counter swap. So the whole concept of rock paper scissors in Overwatch 2 and tanking is so severe that you can actually lose a lot of well, I mean, it depends on the map. If you're playing Flashman or whatever, a lot of map progress in general, just because you started on the wrong hero. And that's really, 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 really severe and so punishing because you just happened to start on the wrong hero. You start on Diva, they have a Zarya, it's over. You start on Roadhog, they have a Maga. It's like, you guys are seeing the point. So that also contributes to tank being like the most miserable, the most unfun, the most infuriating, the most blood-boiling experience you can ever have playing Overwatch is on tanking, as if tanking already is not a frustrating role to play. You guys have seen all the shorts and clips and reels of tanks getting deleted in 1 second. So, and the fact that from the tank's perspective, there's nothing you can do when you get counter swapped, it's boring. It's just so frustrating because you're just literally just giving up, and I don't like giving up. I don't like to feel hopeless, useless. And if the entire enemy team counter swaps you, your team doesn't counter swap, it's literally over. Like, you just might as well just stand and spawn. That's another point. And the other point that it's just boring, it's the fact that you play the counter swap game with the enemy tank. Like, you actually literally play the counter swap game. It's just as boring to me. It removes the whole beauty of the tank from me. It removes me showing off that I'm a better tank than you. The outplay potential, the mechanical outplay potential expression gets lowered when just gets absolutely removed. And just, why would you do that when you can just literally go back to spawn, swap off to the tank that counters the enemy tank, and just exist and you'll win automatically? Right? So, like, for example, if you start on Winston on New Queen Street and they start on Zarya, you kill the Zarya because the rock paper scissors, you started on the right hero, they started on unlucky the wrong hero, so you win the first fight automatically, and then they come back on Roadhog or Maga, so you just end up on a very worse spot. He actually, like, that's another point that I would like to talk about. Sometimes as a tank, if you somehow outplay the enemy tank and you kill them, it's even better for them to die because they're gonna come back on the counter swap hero. You see, it's so severe. And after that, you're gonna have to, because why it's better for them, because they're back on the right hero, and let's just say you had 30% ult charge, 25% ult charge. They kill you, they're gonna have at least 30% ult charge, because when you swap, you don't lose that much. So now you're gonna have to restart all of your 40 or 50% ult charge, because after that fight, you've got at least another 15%. You're gonna restart your 50%. Your team might counter swap as well to try to compensate at least your support or something. Now you're back, and not only in the backhand, but losing point and map progress. I can go on and on and on and on about how brutal, how infuriating playing tank in Overwatch is. The counter swap is just boring. You start on Maga and they come back with Bastions and Yara, Hanzo, Maga. There's absolutely nothing you can do. And you just have to pray to God that your DPS somehow pops off. But I have to say, DPS, the role has really, and it's well equipped to deal with almost every counter swap potential that you can give, that they can experience. So, especially after the release of Sojourn. So, Yeah, I think I covered everything. I have the points written down, and I think I covered everything. So mainly, my point, to me personally, I love playing tank because I'm a leader. If you're playing tank, you're a leader. You lead your team. You shot call. You make you make outplay potentials. You eat their graph. All of that outplay potential. You contest high ground. You make callouts. Anticipate ultimates. All of that gets completely nullified by the counter swapping game. So yeah, I thought that because it's really sad. I love tanking. My favorite role, my best role, and it's like I said, I've talked about it in the beginning of the video. I don't want to go about it again. That's why I love playing tank and seeing tanking, my favorite role, being the absolute worst experience possible. We've always memed about tanking being miserable. We've always memed about tanking being depressing and all of that. But I swear to God, you guys can you can see my channel. I never complain about anything, but it got to the point that it's literally unplayable. Like I have to stress. I have to do so many things because after the rank reset, I got reset to plat. I was GM2 masters. I used to play in higher elos. Now I'm in plat. I have to do things that I'm not even supposed to do on tank. I overcompensate for a lot of the things to win one game that I actually get 3% on in plat lobbies. And all that frustrating is not even worth it. No fun experience. I don't mind losing, but I just want to have fun playing the role. And a lot of you guys will also, I hope you guys relate. I'm not talking because I'm complaining. I hope you guys don't know. I hope you guys know that. And yeah, feel free to let me know feel free to let me know what you guys think about the issue and offer solutions. Let me know what they can do, what Blizzard can do. That's actually another point that I actually don't know how they can do. If hero bans, I'm not sure. I've never really liked the idea of hero bans because you ban Symmetra and you let Pharah in the game. Like for example, if you ban Pharah and then you let Symmetra in the game, Symmetra will dominate the week. Like I've because hero bans were a thing back in the day, and they left it like they completely canceled it because it was really a bad experience. And I'm talking personally, it was a bad experience for me. But what can they do to solve the issue? What can they do to make life to make the tank lives better, the overall experience better? Yes, I know should be a patch tomorrow or later on today about nerfing the DPS passive, and I know there's a mid-season patch coming up about some tank adjustments, but still, we need to address this issue because it's becoming very, very, very it must have gotten bad to the point that I had to make an entire video rant, and I never rant. So, but I also wanted to talk about the meta from time to time. I guess like some sort of serious to talk about the meta from time to time, like meta discussion. So let me know what you guys think, and I would like to know your opinion on the issue. Not just if you're a tank player. I would like to know if you're a DPS player, what's your solution for tanks? If you're a support player, what's your solution for tanks? If you're a tank player, do you share my pain? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to hear I want to hear opinions, comments from a lot of perspectives because I love reading comments. You guys are actually going to be like so surprised when you hear different opinions. That's one of the things I love about Overwatch. Everyone has their own experience. Everyone has their different experience, another different opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree. No one's right or wrong, but I love hearing them. So if you're a tank player, what would you do? If you're a DPS player, what would you suggest for them? If you're a support player, what would you suggest? And your overall opinion about this matter. I initially said 15 minutes, but I guess we went on extra 10 minutes. I think that's not too long. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching if you stayed till the end. And like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, share with your friends if you learned a thing or two, and turn on the notification button. And I shall catch you guys on the next one in Not Enjoy. Be bye.